Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel for another video about another important topic, which I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I just thought I would do maybe a 5 to 10 minute video, maybe a little bit longer, about the subject of death and dying, which is something most of us that think will have thought of at least once or twice, but so have someone that's had quite a bad has had a few fairly rough patches of depression in the past, and for someone that just thinks a lot, death is something that I have thought about probably more than it's probably been healthy to, but in some ways it's kind of become normal for me, and it's sort of become something that I've just accepted, I guess. Yeah, I think there's a point where you arrive at that realization that it's going to happen at some point, and it's something you eventually just kind of have to accept. Under what circumstances that will actually happen, I don't know. I hope that when it does happen, it's quick and it's as painless as possible. But like most people, most people, unless of course you've been diagnosed with a terminal illness or something along those lines, you don't really know. For me, the actual death doesn't necessarily scare me. My vision, my concept of death is just more or less just like a black, empty space, really, and but of course, death is nothingness. There's no emotions, no words, no thought processes, there's nothing. And in that to me, in a way, it's sort of it's almost like a relief to some extent, I suppose. Of course, it depends on what kind of life you've had, I guess, when that point arrives. Especially if you've been suffering from some serious illness or something like that, or you've just had a very hellish life, then maybe death might come as a relief to you. For many people who are young or even children, sometimes dealing with the fact that you're going to die at such a young age must be incredibly, just unbelievably difficult to deal with. And I certainly hope that I don't die within the next 5 or 10 years. I'd like to hope that I live a long life. I hope I will live a long life, and I hope that I'll be lucky enough to not have to deal with things like serious physical issues or diseases, or more psychological issues, or things that lead to psychological issues or physical problems as they get older. But of course, you know that as you age, that some things are going to start to fail. Things are going to get weaker, and I think as the older that you get, the more that the idea of dying becomes more of a 4D picture. I think it's easy to think about the fact that you're not going to exist one day. But I think it's, for me at least, it was when I hit about 24, 25 years of age. I'm now 29, and many people, or if anybody watches this, will be probably thinking, well, you're still young, and why are you making this type of video now? Maybe this is something you should make another 20 years from now or something, perhaps. But if I should die tomorrow, then this is what I'll leave, and this is my message about this topic. And like the very first video I made for this channel, I said that we'll be talking about a variety of different subjects, and this is something that I wanted to talk about because it's something that's preyed on my mind a lot over the years, and I'm sure it will do probably till the day I die. So I just thought it might be something interesting to sort of get off my chest, as it were. But it also might be something that people are interested in, because in England at least, it's a bit of a taboo subject. People don't particularly like to talk about it because it's deemed as depressing. But I don't necessarily think it has to be. I guess it depends on what's going on in your life, and depends on where you are and how you deal with things like that. I'm sure anybody that comes across this video will perhaps have lost at least one pet or one family member at some point, or will do at some point during their lifetime, if not many. And that's something that after a couple of deaths, or especially when you have pets, it's something that you sort of get used to, which is not a very nice way of putting it across, but there is a point where every death, of course, is good, especially if it's somebody very, very close to you, or it's unexpected, or if it's something that was just an accident or a terminal illness of some sort, then that's incredibly sad, and that's something that's very difficult to deal with. And perhaps that's something that I might have to deal with my own family in the future, or perhaps even with myself. Who knows? I mean, I'm not psychic, and I don't particularly believe in all that sort of stuff. Although, I mean, I say I don't believe it. I'm not sure I believe in psychics as such, but I'm not sure if I can really say that I don't believe in the paranormal, because there might be something in that perhaps that we can't fully explain at the moment. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that ghosts or spirits or whatever word you want to use to describe that phenomenon, whatever it is necessarily something that's living, that's conscious. I don't know, but I don't doubt that there's lots of people out there profiting off vulnerable people who believe and want something to cling on to give them some hope, I guess. But I also think that there's a lot of things that perhaps at the moment we can't explain. And I don't believe that everybody that's claimed to have experienced some paranormal are liars. I don't believe that. I think that there's a lot of people out there that might genuinely have felt something, or experienced something, or seen something that they couldn't explain. Now, does that mean it's paranormal? Not necessarily. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff, perhaps 80%, that could be debunked. It's complete rubbish. It's just irrational thought or irrational fear. It's your fear playing on your emotions, and your brain playing, it's manipulating you into thinking that you've seen something, or that you've heard something that you perhaps haven't. But then again, I don't doubt that there is things that people have maybe genuinely have seen, have heard. I know I have at least 2 or 3 times I've experienced a couple of strange things. I don't know whether that's paranormal, I don't know, but that's the paranormal side of things that I'd prefer to get into another video. But it's sort of linked in with, well, it's very linked in with this kind of topic, really. So for me, I'm not really scared of death if it's something that happens either that I don't really know anything about it, or that it's quick and it's painless. But I am afraid of dying of something that's prolonged. In some ways, I'm actually frightened of getting old, and now that I'm swiftly reaching my 30s, I'm starting to see things in my face. I'm starting to see wrinkles forming a little bit here and there, and my face is getting fatter, and I'm starting to see the aging process. And it's difficult to explain the emotions that coexist with the realization that you're getting older and that you're basically starting to fall apart, that you're starting to deteriorate, maybe albeit slowly, but still. But yeah, I'm not really scared of death as such, but I am scared of dying. I'm scared of, well, not so much scared, but it's something that makes me feel sad. That if I should die tomorrow, or in the next few days, next few months, the next couple of years, that assuming nobody else in my family dies before me, that they're going to have to deal with that. I think it's an important thing for people to think about. I don't think it's not useful, and it's certainly not healthy to dwell on subjects there. But I definitely think that everybody should give it some serious thought, because it's something that at some point we will have to deal with and we will have to face. And I think in some ways the earlier that you come to terms with that fact, in some ways perhaps you can ready yourself for it more. And I think that's all I wanted to really say in this video, is that in some ways part of us as a species is the survivor element, but the other element is that we feel powerless in some ways against nature, and in some ways that's actually kind of a humbling experience. It's actually kind of, it shows you that all our species has achieved so much and has evolved in so many ways. I mean, just look at the technology that I'm using to record this on. Compare that to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, certainly 50 years ago. Our species is incredibly, just incredibly intelligent, yet so flawed and so prone to the same cycles of human error and habit. And we only have to look at the world around us now and see what's happening. And who knows what the future will be? Not only for the planet, but for ourselves, and certainly for the next generation and the next one after that. If there is a planet left for them, I hope that there is. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to say, really. Don't be scared of death. Don't be scared of getting older. To get old, to live as long as you can, is to be blessed, is to be lucky as long as you are somewhat healthy. I've certainly had a few experiences in my life where I've been pretty close to more or less sudden death, or in one or two cases probably serious injuries that might have led to death. And I can tell you honestly that I didn't have that sort of classic life flashing in front of you experience. That didn't happen for me. Well, I'm not saying that doesn't happen for other people, because apparently it does. But for me, it was just a thing of I didn't really have time to think. It was just, for me, it was just a survival thing, and that's all I want to do, really. I just want to survive and be as healthy as I possibly can. And if I get to see 70, 80, 90, 100 or more, whatever, then I'll feel very lucky and blessed to have had such a long life. But if I do die tomorrow, if that's my time and that's it, then that's it. I've lived a lot longer than many people have throughout the history of our species, and certainly for other species. And species come and go all the time, and I've had a good life, and not perfect, perhaps not in some ways, not always been what I wanted it to be. I mean, I hope I'm certainly planning on sticking around for a long time to come, and I don't don't have any plans to go anywhere anytime soon, unless nature has other plans or whatever, fate. But we'll see. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say, really. So thank you very much for watching, and sorry it's been a little bit of a morbid video. It wasn't really meant to be. Kind of just wanted to just talk openly about this subject, which doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. See you soon.